So I have all 1099 employees. Some report to others in a hierarchy, and everyone gets along great and does a phenomenal job for my business. Something recently came up though, and that is we have one particular staff member who is uncomfortable both for religious reasons and her political beliefs in writing for certain clients. So for instance, and I'm going to term this, to protect everyone's identities, maybe it is a devout Muslim who is not willing to write about or even serve alcohol. And we've certainly seen those situations play out long ago in the news. So the question is, if a 1099 employee refuses to do work on an LGBTQ issue, on a vaccine issue, and claims religious reasons, what's the law say?
So, Jennifer, this is a really interesting question from my perspective. I do not differentiate between 1099 employees and so-called regular, W-2 employees.
Sure.
From the point of view, if you are supervising somebody and an issue like this comes up and they have a task and they refuse for religious reasons to engage in that task, the question is, what are their rights to resist and what's the employer's right to enforce or compel? And I think that the best way to describe that is that there's a few things going on here. One would be Title VII of the United States Code, which is the New Jersey counterpart, is the law against discrimination. And they both say essentially that employees have the right to a discrimination-free environment as much as possible, which means race, creed, color, national origin, gender, age, disability, and a host of other descriptions, protected areas. So this would be, let's say, religion. So the employee says, I will not do this. And the employer says, but I need you to do it. All right, so then there's something called in the law a reasonable accommodation. Okay. So the employee could say, I won't do it, but my colleague over here will be happy to do it. They love to drink. They drink all the time. They love to write about drinking. Maybe that works. Maybe it's that simple, no big deal. Sometimes that can happen. Other times the employer says, no, I assigned it to you. And if you don't do it, you have just defied my expectation and you can't work here. So the other side of the coin is, while the employee and the employer have to look for a reasonable accommodation, it's not unlimited. So, and if it causes that, quote, undue hardship, end quote, on the employer, on the manager, they have the right to say, we're disciplining you up to and including termination, if that's what they feel like they want to do. So it's an interesting area because it's not a First Amendment area per se. That's why I talked about the statutes. First Amendment to the US Constitution and the counterpart in the New Jersey Constitution basically say government shall not compel religious exercise, nor shall it interfere with religious expression. That's not this unless the 1099 person is working for the government, state, federal, local. Now you have those pieces going on in addition to Title VII, which also applies to the government employee, and reasonable accommodation is going to come up again. So that's the essence of it. It's a balance. We try to have a balance. And at some point, I hope we should get to, what is the US Supreme Court saying about religious expression of an independent contractor who doesn't want to serve somebody who's gay or a person of color, all of that. Those issues are front and center right now in the court.